When I was a little girl, I believed dancers were like angels. They floated, weightless, across the stage, carried by the music. To me, dance was magic. It was freedom, and I wanted to live in that magic forever. My name is Elara, and for years, I lived the dream. Ballet wasn't just my passion, it was my whole life. I gave everything to it, my time, my body, my soul, but no one warned me how much it would take in return. Now, here I am, looking at the pieces of the life I once had, trying to figure out how to put them back together. People say that every ending is a new beginning, but they don't tell you how painful endings can be. It was the biggest performance of my life. The theater was packed, the lights blinding, and the air buzzing with excitement. I was the lead in Giselle, a role I had dreamed about since I was a child. I had practiced every move, every step, 1,000 times. The music started, and I let it carry me. Every turn, every leap, felt perfect. When the final act began, I prepared for the moment everyone was waiting for, my signature leap. The audience leaned forward in their seats, the orchestra swelled. I jumped, but something went wrong. My ankle twisted as I landed, and pain exploded throughout my body. My knees buckled, and I fell to the floor. The audience gasped. For a moment, I tried to stand, but the pain was unbearable. The curtains closed, and the applause I had worked so hard for never came. Backstage, I sat on the floor, clutching my ankle, tears streaming down my face. The director walked past me, his face a mask of disappointment. No one said a word. At the hospital, the doctor's words crushed me. You've torn a ligament. Elara. You'll recover, but dancing at your current level may not be possible. I nodded, but inside, I was screaming. Ballet was my identity. Without it, who would I? For weeks, I stayed in my apartment, unable to face the world. My trophies and pointe shoes sat on the shelf, gathering dust, reminding me of everything I had lost. But the hardest part wasn't the pain or the silence, it was the whispers. Elara's finished, she'll never recover, and the worst one, maybe it's better this way. She was starting to fade anyway. Days turned into weeks, and my ankle slowly began to heal. But my heart felt heavier with each passing day. Friends called, offering sympathy and support, but I didn't want to hear it. I avoided the studio, the stage, anything that reminded me of what I had lost. One gray afternoon, I went for a walk, hoping to clear my mind. The city was alive with people rushing past, but I felt invisible, like a ghost. That's when I saw it, a small, old building tucked between two modern skyscrapers. Its windows were cracked, and its walls were covered in graffiti, but something about it caught my eye. I stopped and peered inside through the broken glass. Dust floated in the air, and the floor was littered with debris. But in my mind, I saw something else. I saw a dance studio. What if I can't perform anymore? I thought. Maybe I can still teach, maybe I can help others find the joy I've lost. The idea scared me. Could I really let go of being the star to become the teacher? Would anyone even want to learn from someone like me? I shared my idea with Leela, my best friend. She listened carefully and smiled. "It's a good idea, Elara," she said. "But are you ready for it? Are you ready to let go of who you were and become someone new?" Her words stayed with me. Was I ready? I wasn't sure, but I knew I had to try. As I started planning for the studio, I received an unexpected call. It was Sophia, a name I hadn't heard in years. She had always been my rival, talented, ambitious, and always chasing the spotlight I held. "Elara," she said, her voice smooth and confident. "I heard about your accident. I'm so sorry, but I have an idea that might help you." Sophia wanted to partner with me on the studio. She had investors, connections, and experience from running her own projects abroad. "Together, we can create something extraordinary," she said. I hesitated. Sophia had always been competitive, but she seemed genuine, and I needed help. Against my better judgment, I agreed. At first, it was perfect. Sophia brought in investors and helped renovate the building, but slowly, she started taking control. She made decisions without consulting me, changed my designs, and even began promoting the studio as if it were hers. One evening, I overheard her talking to one of the investors. "Elara's name is useful for now," she said. "But let's be honest, she's done. This studio will be mine soon enough." Her betrayal felt like another fall, but this time, I wasn't going to stay down. Ending my partnership with Sophia was messy and painful. She fought back, claiming that she owned part of the studio. Rumors spread, and people began to doubt me. But I was determined to fight for my dream. With Lila's help, I found new investors. They weren't as wealthy as Sophia's backers, but they believed in my vision. Together, we worked day and night to rebuild the studio. Every day was a challenge. There were setbacks, financial problems, construction delays, but I refused to give up. On the day the studio opened, I stood by the door, watching as students walked in. They were young, nervous, and full of hope. Seeing them reminded me of why I had started dancing in the first place, not for the applause, but for the love of movement. Months later, we held our first recital. The students had worked hard, and their excitement was contagious. But as I watched them from the wings, a familiar rage returned. I missed the stage. The performance was beautiful. The audience clapped and cheered, and my heart swelled with pride. After the show, the students surprised me. "Miss Elara," they said, "this performance is for you." They played a soft, familiar melody and invited me to dance. I hesitated. My ankle wasn't as strong as it used to be, and I was afraid of failing in front of them. But as the music played, something inside me stirred. I stepped onto the stage. My movements were slower, less precise than before. But every step carried my story of pain, resilience, and hope. When the music ended, the audience stood, their applause filling the room. For the first time in months, I felt whole again. The studio became more than a place to dance. It became a home for dreamers. And for me, it was a reminder that even when the spotlight fades, the dance doesn't have to end. Because the most beautiful dances aren't the ones performed perfectly. They're the ones that come from the heart.